What's up, YouTube? Gameover86 coming back with another video, and in this video I'm just going to be going over some things, guys, about how video game collecting has become more from a passion from when I started game collecting to now it seems like everybody it's like a business, and it's getting pretty ridiculous. And I'm just going to be talking a little bit about some stuff, going over, giving you guys just some images of some games that people go crazy over for no apparent reason, and they pay just crazy amounts of money because it is rare, or it was exclusive to one place, or it was you know, people consider it to be rare when it's really not, and that confuses the smaller market, whether it be pawn shops, flea markets, thrift stores, garage sales, or you're just rummage sales, or swap meets and stuff like that. It really does hurt the whole gaming collecting world or market, and it really does make it kind of like not as fun as what it used to be. So if you guys are new to this channel, you guys do enjoy Gameover86, you do enjoy this video, you guys do enjoy me, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. It does help out the channel grow. Not only do I want to become one of the biggest gaming channels in this world, I want to also bring some good stuff, bring some knowledge, bring some awareness, give you guys some thoughts and opinions along the way, also to help open up some of the eyes out there from all this other garbage and trash that we have going on in this world, from clickbait to scalpers to scammers and all that stuff, guys. So really, I do appreciate everybody out there. Make sure you guys also, if you do like the video, hit the thumbs up. It really does help me out. It helps spread the video and gets it out more. Also, leave me a comment down below and let me know what you guys think about this video. I want to know your guys' thoughts about game collecting. Is it crazy? Is it ridiculous how crazy people are going with these prices? So without further ado, also I want to say follow me on Twitter, guys. I'll leave a link down in the description. I actually hit 100 followers. All right, thumbs up. I love that. That means 100 of you guys will see my tweets messages when I tweet them out. So make sure you guys follow me there as well. And let's go ahead and get started. First off, I want to say that game collecting to me back in the day when I grew up game collecting, just buying games as a consumer and as a fan of video games, it became fun. It became great because it was something to have fun with. It was never a business. It was never how much can I get out of this. It was never I'm going to buy 40 of them so the guy next door or 5 states over or 3 miles down the road can't or won't be able to purchase this. It was never about that. It was about getting your copy, playing the game. Hell, back in the day, we would be playing video games and we wouldn't even keep the games cartridge-based wise unless it was Sega Genesis were the only ones because they were plastic cases. But as far as like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, not a lot of people kept them. I know there's a lot of people out there that have kept them, but as far as game collecting goes, it didn't become real popular until like the early days, when Nintendo 64, PlayStation kind of hit. Everybody started realizing, well, let's keep our you know, books and cases and everything like that, and it became really big and crazy. And I'm just gonna go ahead and start off. Yes, the eBay logo's up here. Have I used eBay to buy video games? Yes, I have. Have I used eBay to sell video games when I have duplicates? Yes, I have. But the difference between me selling a video game at a consumer nice price, and it's not always about being nice. I understand we're going from collecting from when I grew up to now business. It seems like me, if I have duplicates of something, a lot of times I sell them, or I give them away to family or friends, or you know, in the future I'm going to be doing drawings when I get more stuff and giving away stuff for you, the people that have been subscribed to me and people that are following me. So that's one thing that I would like to do and set up in the future when I get more stuff, as in duplicates of video games, whether it be just digital codes to Steam or anything like that that you guys enjoy, whether it be any of that stuff. But when I looked at eBay and I see games that people go crazy for, and just to throw one up here, it's Clay Fighter Sculptor's Cut, and it's the Blockbuster exclusive to, I believe, 63 and a half, 63rd and a half, or whatever you want to call it. And it was crazy because not a lot of people realize that this game was a Blockbuster exclusive until all the collectors came out and started talking about it, where you would see it when Blockbuster finally closed their doors. I rented it a long time ago at Blockbuster. I took it back, obviously. I did never keep it. I actually don't own this game. But when I see that prices are going for $400 or $500, you know, to $250 to $300 for these games, I chuckle, I laugh, because I think to myself, you know, there's so many people out there that are trying to collect. And back in the day, I understand it does have some value. You know, there were so many made. You know, there was only exclusively to Blockbuster. You know, nobody else made it. I get that, but when you see how much people are paying for this, I chuckle and I laugh, because it's kind of hurting the smaller market people that are just trying to sell games. They base their games off of like rare, expensive, and then they go right under. And just to give you guys quick examples, as I went to my local flea markets and thrift stores around here, and some of their games that aren't even good, that are like $17, $15, $10, when the game should be $1. There's some games in there that I seen like Wii Fit for $15. Nobody's gonna buy a $15 Wii Fit. There were other games in there that people just think, well, since it's retro, since it came from the 90s, if it's any Nintendo 64 game, any Super Nintendo game, any NES game, any Sega, any you know, any of them games, it's worth 20 or more bucks, or it's worth $15 or more. And it's not with every game, but it seems like every Mario game out there is 20 bucks or more, $50 or more, depending on where you get it, whether it be eBay, whether it be a thrift store, garage sales, or whatnot. But there's these people out there that are ruining the market, and it's not people here on YouTube. It's the people that are scalping, that are not wanting to share a lot of the stuff. And I use Sculptor's Cut as one big example, as, you know, so many people will pay $200, $300, $400 for this game, emulate it. That's what's making everybody want to emulate games and want to go a cheaper route, is because it's ridiculous. I shouldn't have to pay that price for a Nintendo 64 game that's really not even that good. Everybody buys it and says that it's hyped up and good. I can tell you right now, I played it back in the early days. It's not that good. I mean, 63 and a half or a third or whatever it is, I can't even remember right now. Even though I have it, you know, underneath the Sculptor's Cut. It's ridiculous, because people will pay ungodly amounts of money for something that's really, they may play, what, 2-3 times and then put on their shelf. That's ridiculous. So I always just say, if it's too expensive to buy and you don't have the money to afford it, emulate it. That's the best way out there now, because there's so many people out there that want to sell Contra at $35-$40, and I paid $5 or like $6 for mine when I first got it back in the 90s. So when I think about that and I see the prices on, I'm like, I'm not going to pay you $35 for a Contra on NES when it's not worth that. So that's one example. The other example, and I don't even own a Sega Saturn, but that is one system that I have died and have wanted to have. I have bent over backwards to try to find these consoles around here. And around where I live, dude, Sega was never that popular, it seems like. I was a big Sega fan when it came down to the wars. I always owned Sega stuff before Nintendo stuff. Even though I own Nintendo NES, I got the Sega before I got the Super NES. And I state that in other videos, and then you know, Sega just started jumping with so many consoles. You know, I just couldn't afford the CD, the 32X, the 32X Sega CD or whatever, and then the Sega Saturn. I did get the Dreamcast, but the Saturn was so expensive, and at the time, PlayStation hit, so we got the PlayStation 1 and then the Nintendo 64, and there were just so many consoles that I just like was like, forget it, I can't afford that, it's too expensive. And then when you want to go back to try to collect, and I understand it's been a long time, and I understand there's Sega Saturns out there that are not really that expensive. You can pay, I think, $60 to get you know, one, not complete in box, but, you know, a console and the cords and the controller. But then when you go into the games, it's ridiculous. I see some games that were, you know, not even $20 when they were sold 20 years ago or 10 years ago, and people are selling them for $125, and it's ridiculous that you see that on eBay. And then that trickles down, and let me get into it a little bit more about how this trickles down, is when you go to a garage sale, and you guys always wonder why somebody's sitting there that has no clue anything about video games. They're older generation, you know, they may have grew up in the Atari, and I'm not saying they don't know anything about the Nintendo and the vintage and retro and stuff like that, but they're at least 50 and older now. And I'm not saying people out there that are 50 and older don't know anything about video games, but the majority of people that are 50 and older didn't kind of grow up with that kind of video game era. It was a little bit under that age. Now, there are people above 50 that game now, and I'm not dogging. I'm just saying a lot of them don't have the full understanding of the console. All they go by is what they see and what's popular and what's the fad right now. So they can go to eBay and they would see like a Nintendo original would be getting sold for $55. And it comes with 2 remotes, and it comes with like 3 of the Marios, or it'll come with 1 Mario, and it'll come with like Metroid Prime, or excuse me, Metroid, or it'll come with you know, Ninja Gaiden, or some of the Ninja Turtle games. And it's like, then you go and they're like, well, they're rare. These things are hard to find. I had a lady tell me that, and she wanted like $60 for Bubble Bobble or whatever, and it was not number 2. It was Bubble Bobble 1, the one that's like not really sought after for the collector's world. And and it was a scummy Nintendo side loader, you know, where it opens up the flap, and kind of like the NES Mini Classics. It was just like that, only it was real dirty and scummy, and the remote cords were kind of like bent, like you could tell the wiring might have been split inside there. It didn't all the way break the seal of the cable, but you could just tell that it had some wear and tear. And I asked the lady, I was like, well, why do you want $60 for it? I'll give you 15 to 20 bucks for it. And she's like, no. She's like, these things are rare. These things are hard to find. And I told her, I said, no, they're not really rare. I was like, they're not rare at all, actually. Everybody bought an NES, like, and it's because they went to eBay. She told me she went to eBay and she's seen these with this price and that price, and she judged it from this price. But she don't understand that some of these other places are like mint condition games, or some of these games have value with it, or it came with 2 controllers when she only had 1. And that was just one of the things that I went through when it came to game collecting outside this world. By the way, I will post that stuff to my Twitter. That's why I tell you guys to follow me there as well. So when I go out game hunting and I do other stuff, I do like to post a lot of that stuff on Twitter rather than just do a video of it on YouTube. I talk about it, and I also do show some stuff, snippets of it, pictures possibly. But anyway, not to jump off page, when I talk about video games, I have such a love and passion for the video game world. I've been a video game fan ever since I was old enough to hold a controller. And it's crazy because the people that you run into a lot of times are not really a lot of times, I shouldn't say every time, but a lot of the times you run into people that are just wanting to, like, they found it in an attic and they're like, oh, it's really rare. Well, if it's really rare, why was it all scummy? Why was the cables all dirtied? I mean, if you think it's so rare and so valuable to you, why didn't you take care of it? Why are you trying to sell it for 60 bucks but treat it like piece of shit, you know? So when I hear that and I see that, that's one clue, guys, to get a thought that these people have no clue what they're talking about. So always look for that when you're out game hunting. And like I said, this is a video on why, to me, game collecting isn't really as fun as what it used to be. And it's more, instead of a passion to some people now, it's became a business or a hobby to some people. It's became a literally life. You know, they make a living doing this. And it's not everybody out there, because not everybody out there likes to be a scalper or likes to be a piece of shit. And I'm not saying the people that I went to were. I'm just saying they have no clue what the price was because they were born in 1955 or 1960. And no offense to anybody that was born there, but the majority of them didn't grow up collecting. The majority of them didn't have like the Atari 2600 and play all that. They spent their time at the arcades, or they did have it, but they didn't collect them all and sought after. So when they sit there and tell me, oh, well, this is that, this and that, they're just going by what an eBay scalper or overpriced person is doing as well, which ain't always bad. Because sometimes they quote, and then you go on and they show you where they found it at, and that person has like a limited edition, or they do have a very sought after game, like you know, Panzer Dragoon, like I have up here, which is a very rare, expensive game. I mean, this is like $225 and up. I think complete in box, it's like $300. I could be wrong, but last time I checked it, it was around that price. and I know Panzer Dragoon 2, and then Panzer Dragoon, I think Orta on the Xbox is pretty sought after too. I mean, you're going to be paying around 50 to 80 to 100 bucks. Complete in box, definitely 60 and up on that. But the reason why I brought up Panzer Dragoon is I did play it over at my friend's when he has Sega Saturn early in the 90s. He was with one few guys that paid, and his mom and dad bought him a $400 Sega Saturn that most of us couldn't afford back in the day, because we already bought, you know, if you didn't buy the PlayStation or the Nintendo 64 or the Sega, you know, 32X, or you bought the Sega CD, you didn't buy any of that. I mean, I guess you would have had money for the Sega Saturn, but like after buying all that other stuff, Super Nintendo and whatnot, you didn't have money to spend $400 on a Sega Saturn. Not alone, just when it was competing against PlayStation, that just sold you there not to go with the Saturn. And I did make the mistake of not getting that. But now that I want to collect, and this ain't a bitter pill, this ain't sour grapes, I'm just saying it's kind of a bummer, because you're better off just emulating 90% of the games now and just playing them to have fun rather than waste all your money paying for an overpriced game. Now, I'm not saying Panzer Dragoon's not worth the money. It is a fun game. But if you had to ask me, I would rather purchase, and this is just Gameover86's opinion. I'm sure there's people out there that probably have the same opinion. I haven't even played the third one, but I have seen gameplay footage of it. I have seen other people play it. But Panzer Dragoon 3 Orta, or I think I'm saying that right. If not, guys, let me know down in the comment. But I would rather play for that game. I'd rather play that game over the Panzer Dragoon and Panzer Dragoon 2 on the Sega Saturn. But if there's anybody out there that has extra copies, or maybe they can contact me through my email address, which is on my YouTube or my Twitter page, and let me know. We can do trades. Maybe you guys got stuff that I have duplicates of that you guys may want as well, and I'm willing to do trades with people there. So let me know down in the comments if you would, or shoot me an email or something like that as well. Hate to jump off page, but I would love, that's like the #1 thing I've been hunting for the past year and a half, is a Sega Saturn. I want to collect for it. It is a very expensive console and games to collect for. A lot of the Japanese games are a lot cheaper. So for people that are out there, I'm just trying to influence, try to talk to you guys and give you guys some info. So if you guys are out there also collecting, because my game channel ain't just game reviews, game rants, and all this, and I'm just talking about PlayStation and all this, and Xbox and Nintendo and whatnot. I like to talk about collecting, and this is a different video, and I'm going to start doing some other collecting. I think I'm going to try to bring at least one a week of just collecting stuff and talk about collecting, just to kind of keep everybody, down to earth, wholesome kind of people, because that's what I am, and that's who I want to be. But there's so many games out there that people have played that say that are rare, and then they're not really rare. They just, the word of mouth made them rare and expensive, and then like Earthbound and other games and such, like some of the Tomb Raider games from PC are kind of pricey, and it's just stuff like that that spreads like wildfire, that kind of hurts the passion and the love you have for collecting games. I do still collect video games. I collect a ton of stuff. Not only just video games, I'm a big toy collector. But I'm not wanting to get off page. I'm just saying Sega Saturn is one of my consoles I want to have before the end of 2018. I want to collect for. So if there's anybody out there that's got one complete in box, shoot me an email. Let me know if there's a price on it. It's got to be a reasonable price. I'm not going to pay completely god amounts, but you guys know the difference on that. And let me know. Let's go on with the next one though, and this is another reason why I said collecting is sometimes hurting, and it's a business, but it's also more of a cutthroat, and it's more livelihood now. When the craze happened in 2016, which I didn't get one, as you guys can see in that picture right back here. If I can move my finger the right way in the camera, yes, it's been a while. See that? It has the ESRB. So when you see that back there, and you see I got the next reprint of it, which is the same thing, this year, and I showed it on Twitter, I finally got one. I was so excited. I was excited as just a fan and as a collector. I never owned more than one. And if I ever did, I would give it away as a gift, or I would never sell them for $300 or $150 or whatever. I mean, whatever everybody else does, that's their choice, but that is kind of what's hurting, is people that don't know video game collecting, or they don't know like the whole love and passion and the grind that it takes sometimes as collectors. Because back in the day, you didn't pay nothing but 30 cents for some games, and $1.50 or $4, and nothing was 35, 40 bucks for one game. I mean, you could get 12 Sega Genesis games for 40 bucks. I mean, I could get a buttload of games back in the 90s for that stuff, which I did. And when they start doing this, and I'm not knocking Nintendo by any means, but I'm not, all the scalpers out there that bought all these and then they sold them for $300, it was hurting the gaming market, not as a collector, but as just a fan of wanting to play the game. Because there's a lot of people out there that don't own the NES Classic, or excuse me, the original, or top load, front load, whatever. And it was sad because they just wanted to play their Mario games on high-def TV, because a lot of people don't have CRT TVs as well. And it was sad because this is what I'm talking about when it comes to game collecting. A lot of people forget, like myself, when I started game collecting, it wasn't because I wanted to get the most rarest copy so I could sell it to the next person. If I found a rare game, or if I found it in a group of games, yeah, I was excited. I was happy. Hey man, I just got a great deal. I found a rare game, or I found a hidden gem that a lot of people don't talk about, which is something new. And it was unique to finally find it. You get that satisfaction feeling when you finally find a game, and it brings a little bit of enjoyment to you as a game collector. And when I see the stuff that I see nowadays with people thinking, well, this is worth $100 or this is worth $190, I always think to myself, really what it is a RetroPie with Nintendo branding on it, and it's an emulator. So when I see all this stuff, yeah, it was cool because you can emulate and put all the Nintendo games on. You don't ever have to buy Nintendo games that are overpriced and expensive. And some of them are still cheap and garbage. You know, there's a lot of NES games out there that were just trash, dumpsters, you know, dumpster fires. But there were a lot of games that were hard to find. And that's what makes it kind of unique, is you could play a game here, buy it for $60, which is a really good deal for 30 games. And then just emulate and put some stuff on it, which was fun because it made people that aren't game collectors, or people that just couldn't afford these overpriced games, get to enjoy these games. And that's what it's all about, is enjoying video games. And the next one, obviously, it was a big craze. I actually got mine, as you can see up in that picture back here behind me. I did actually get mine on the release night, and it was awesome. It felt good because I felt like it was going to be one of them crazy things again where people were just trying to buy it and sell it. And yes, I think they were $80, $79.99 here in the States. But it was crazy because I just wanted one to play some of the games that, and you want to talk about expensive games. On the Super Nintendo, the list that they gave us of, I believe it was 21 games. I think it's 21 games. Yeah, I can't remember, obviously. I think it's 21. Anyway, some of the games on there that they listed, I have never been able to purchase. I've had before, you know, you lose them, you sell them, your mom sells them in a garage sale when you're younger. But some of them games I do own. But a lot of them I didn't own because now when you try to find them, they're $90 just for the game, not even complete in box. Or $120 for one game. And I looked at that and I'm like, okay, I can buy a Super Nintendo Classic Mini Edition for $80, and it gets all these games. And they're pretty much spot on when it comes to emulating, because Nintendo, it's Nintendo legit brand, so it's going to be 100% them. And then I can buy, you know, Contra Alien Wars for $90. Or I could buy Link to the Past for $60. Like, it just, that was something. And it's not about always the collecting with me, even though I would like to collect Super Nintendo games and have them all along the shelf and have them nice and decked out. I got them all laying in boxes over here because I ain't got any shelves right now. I'm trying to build shelves for the future. So when I get a better camera, they can shoot me over there. I can shoot myself over there. You guys kind of look at my collection, pick out and see, and maybe we can go through a list and do that for the future. But I'm jumping right now. So let me stay with you guys so you guys can stay with me. And it's my ADD, guys. It's jumping in. I apologize. And I hope my mic sounds a lot better. Okay? I hope it does sound a lot better. But when I look at the Super Nintendo, oh my goodness, man. When I was jumping with Sega, you know, I didn't buy the Super Nintendo until like 2 years afterwards. I mean, I didn't parents bought it, but like, you know, at the time I didn't have a job. I was only like 8, 9 years old, you know, when that all came out, and it was real big in like the 91, 92, 93 era. You know, I was only 6, 7, 8 years old. So a lot of the stuff was there, but you know, it was expensive. And then, you know, for our time in the 90s, I mean, the games that were 40, 50 bucks, I mean, that was expensive back in the day to buy games continuously. And yes, they had Funko Land. Yes, they had EB Games, or later on down the road with GameStop. And they had other markets out there that sold video games, whether it be Walmart, whether it be eBay, whether it be, you know, Best Buy, Target, Kmart, Toys R Us, you know, that recently closed, Blockbuster. So what I'm trying to get at, guys, in this video game world and talking about video games is that, yes, when we see games on sale, whether it be like I got this image of eBay up here that I just took down, whether we see games out there and they're very expensive, and yes, you always think, oh, I can buy this game, man. It's $300, or, you know, I'll give you guys 2 examples before I close the video, guys, and I want you guys to really let this sink in, because I love talking to you guys. I love getting conversations going. I love hearing your guys' feedback. It does bring joy to my heart, actually, very, very much. But this is some real stuff that I want to say at the end. Crash Bandicoot, Crash Bandicoot 2 Cortex Strikes Back, Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped. All the Spyro the Dragons, Riptar's Revenge or Rage, and Spyro the Dragon. The third one I can't even think of. I got it sitting over there on a shelf. I paid, I think they were 30 or 40 bucks in the late 90s on PlayStation 1. And now, to get all 3 of them games combined are like 150, 170 bucks. Some of these games are 50, 60 bucks by themselves. $15 more. And the reason why I like some remasters and some ports, if you guys have been with me for the long run of my channel, and I say, you know, some ports are good, some ports are bad. I'm going to use this right now. It's good when you don't drown your consumers in the same port with the same thing every gen console. But you know what? Crash Bandicoot was insanely great, no pun intended, with the game. With the trilogy that came out on PS4, for the timed exclusive before it came to Xbox and Nintendo Switch, $40 got you all 3 of them games. And there are people still trying to sell these games on PlayStation 1, which, need I remind you, the graphics are worse there. And the gameplay's still fun, and it may not run that well because they're easier to scratch and just reading all that. For you're paying $15 more for the trilogy, Insane Trilogy, for PlayStation 4 than you would be for buying one Crash Bandicoot game. And it's same with Spyro. When the Spyro you know, reignited, remastered, or whatever edition comes, that to me is where I say, okay, that was portable. You port games like that, that's okay to port, because they haven't ported that Spyro the Dragon until now, or Crash until now. You get what I'm saying? And I understand Naughty Dog owned them, so that's why they didn't make numerous ones when, you know, the franchise went out and got bought up by Activision. But I'm leaving you guys with this. Think about that when you're out game hunting. Think about when you guys buy these games or you see them on eBay for just ungodly amounts. Just remember, as a game collector, guys, that there's still a game out there that somebody's wanting to sell that may not be right there. And I'm not saying buy it. By all means, if you want to, just go ahead and buy it. But just remember that you'll find that game out there. If you look hard enough, you find it hard enough. And that's what brings that passion back, is when I see these games being remade and I see how well they're selling, not over in the UK, but here in the States, or over, you know, overseas in Australia. It's real popular games. Japan, wherever you want to be. And that's the enjoyment of games, man. That's what it brings to me, is paying 40 bucks. Now I got all 3 Crashes. I play it on my PS4. Why do I need to play it on my PlayStation 1? Why do I need to play Spyro? Why do I need to pay somebody $100 for Spyro's Riptar's Revenge, or Riptar, or whatever? I can't even remember the name of it right now, because it's not on my mind. When I could just pay 40 bucks for all 3 of them to be remastered way better on the Xbox One X, or the PlayStation 4 when it comes, or the Nintendo Switch. I think it's coming there. But let me know what your guys' thoughts on. This is why I made this video. It was just, it's kind of a longer video. I do apologize. But it is just about why collecting to me sometimes is a bummer. And it's not as fun as what it used to be. It is a passion of mine still. I still love collecting video games. I still love watching other videos of people collecting video games just to see their library of it. And I will bring that in the future later on, down the road. But I want to know your guys' thoughts on what you guys think with all this collecting and overpriced video games just because somebody out there or from eBay says something or sees something on there, and then you take that price and then you go to your local garage sales and people are just looking on eBay at the highest price picture and they're like, well, that's what it's for, and when it's really not. So let me know what you guys think about all that, guys. Let me know down in the comments what you guys have ran into, whether it been some of the smaller title games that were just way overpriced. People were just trying to gouge you, scalpers out there. Let me know your guys' thoughts and opinions on what you guys think about video game collecting as a whole. If you guys are interested, also, like I said, wanting to possibly send me something. I don't have a P.O. box yet, guys. But I will in the future. Let me know down in the comments if you guys have anything like that. If you guys want me to open up a review, I will give your channel or your name a shout out as well when that does happen. If you guys would like to give me stuff or you know, gifts, goodies, or whatever you want me to open on this channel, and I will give you guys an honest thank you very much for that, and a shout out to your name. Just leave me a note or a letter, write me something if you want as well. In no way is this me asking for you guys to give me the stuff. I'm just saying I'm opening up my mailbox eventually, P.O. box, so where you guys can send me stuff, and I will leave that in Twitter, and I will update it with my videos when they come in the future. But I was just wanting to know your guys' honest opinion about video game collecting. I really love it. It's one of my biggest passions, besides wrestling and drumming, of course. Video games comes right there with it. And I just want to know your guys' opinions on all this stuff. I want to know what you guys really enjoy collecting out there. Let me know what your #1 thing is this year, guys. The biggest thing is collecting-wise. What you guys really want to collect moving forward. Me, it's the Saturn. I'm telling you, if I find somebody with a Sega Saturn right now, I will do degrading things to get that. I'm kidding. I won't do anything degrading, but I will literally buy that. Say anybody out there, I'm so wanting a Sega Saturn with the collection. I've been dying to play these games that I haven't got to play in literally 20 years. 21 years. So that is one console I really, really, really want to collect for. Anyway, guys, this has been Gameover86's video. As always, take care of one another. Do a good deed for somebody out there that needs it. Stay safe wherever you may be living, guys, or traveling on the road. I'll see you guys on the next video. If you like it, hit the subscribe. If you do love this video, hit the thumbs up. Share this video. Also follow me on Twitter. Gameover86 is out. Peace, guys.